Howdy there, ladies and gentlemen. As always, I'm Admiral Vigilance, and we're back playing some Dragon Age Origins. Anyways, today has been interesting, to say quite. So, maybe this will make it more interesting. And I'm going to turn the audio down. It's super loud. Sound effects down to 50. Dialogue. 8 seconds. Music a little bit down. Archers are a pain in the ass. And stop activating that. All those waste
shall be done. I shall do it. As you say, I shall do it. Very well.
Alright, back off. Archers are way too much of a pain in the ass. I gotta wait until they get near me.
Quickly, we must fight! I shall do it. It is begun.
God,
It shall be done.
I think I got it.
As you say.
Whenever I get a specialization for Stin, which let's check real quick once he gets up. Maybe he might not be able to get it, but if I can get his specialization, where is it? If I can get a specialization where, for Sten at least, I want to make him a Templar. So whenever I get my, where is it? While I'm in the inventory, I might as well do this for Wynne. Whenever I get my Warden Commander armor, or whatever it's called, Warden Commander, whatever it's called, I want to switch out that for this, give him these, so he can have that and use that. So I want to try something. Nope, it does. Alright, so I need to get those gloves for this as well as the boots. And then after that, I'll wear the Warden Commander armor, give Sten this armor, or this armor, or I might give him the, no, I'm going to give Augurin that whenever I get him. As for now, let's...
I go. It is done. Yes.
This is a golem, I believe. Damaged, perhaps beyond repair. There may be a way to reactivate it, though that is not necessarily wise.
Perhaps I could have a try at that.
I need to look and see what actually raises the whole. Ooh, that's nice. What raises the whole? What's it called? Pick lock skill, whatever that's called in this game. Because I'm starting to really get annoyed by my ropes not doing anything. So let's go ahead and take the time and do that real quick. I'm thinking it's going to be the. Ooh, what's that? I'm thinking it's gonna be the character. It's gonna have to be this. No, dexterity maybe. Nope. Alright, well, I'll have to take a look at lock picking. So I'm confused on what makes it go up. It says it's a skill, so if it's a skill, it has to be. No, I think actually it might be this. No, it couldn't be stealing, could it? Instead wins everything. Alright, well, I'll take a look at it later. As for now, let's save. Make this golem. Save 56. Oh, anyways, I was playing. I'm going to have to look at it in camp. But I was playing Mass Effect 1. While I was playing Mass Effect 1, that was a while ago. I was playing Mass Effect 1. I showed you a planet, where I was on a planet that's moon had a giant gash in it, and later tonight, whenever I go, actually after this, I'll go back to the camp so you guys can see what I'm actually talking about.
It has begun.
Careful next
I shall
time.
do it. It shall be done. As you say, I shall do it.
Perhaps I could have a try at that.
As you say.
Sweet shall be done. Here!
If I must.
You've begun. Shall be done. You've begun. Flush it done. Use begun. Very well.
By the Maker, we're saved!
You weren't sent by the ban, were you? To save us? A Grey Warden? Here! Thank the Maker for our luck! But if you weren't sent by someone, why are you here? If you don't mind me asking. The statue outside? Why would... Oh, I think I see. You bought the control rod, didn't you? You came here looking for Shale. That damnable golem brought us nothing but trouble. My mother sold the rod years ago after it killed my father, and good riddance! My father's name was Wilhelm, mage to the Arls of Redcliffe and a hero in the war against Orlais, and what did he get? One day, my mother found him outside the tower, with so many broken bones she could barely recognize him, and Shale standing over him just like it is now. My father deserved better than that. But if you really want to wake Shale up, well, it's yours now. My mother might have passed along the wrong command phrase when she sold the rod. She said she never wanted to see Shale active again. Look, I'll tell you the command phrase, but I'll need your help first. I know you already saved my life, and I'm grateful, but my daughter is inside the laboratory. She was afraid and ran too far in before I could stop her. I don't know how she made it past my father's defenses. One of the men tried to go after her. He was killed, but you could find her, couldn't you? I don't, it's true. I'm terrified that something's happened to her and she's lying in there, injured. I can't leave here until I know for certain. Surely you can understand that. There are defenses my father put down here to keep strangers out. I knew about the barrier, I had the key for that, but the rest of it, well, we never came down here. Ever. You will? Thank the Maker! My father's laboratory is just past the next area, I think. She has to be there.
Alright, looks like we're going on a wild goose chase now. So, this should be fun.
That'll leave a mark.
That was a most difficult battle.
What do you mean you've never climbed a tree? Oh, look, someone's come to play. You have come to play, haven't you? We're playing a guessing game. It's better with more people. Father? Oh, you can tell him I'm fine. Maybe he'll come and stay with us, too. Anyway, you should go if you're not going to play. Kitty finds you distracting. Kitty's clever. She says you want to take me back to my father, but I'm not going. She would be lonely.
You are so kind, Amalia. I would miss you dearly if you left.
Of course, silly.
Talking is simple enough, once you know how. I am a cat, really. Nothing you say will convince Amalia to go with you. She loves only me now. I am her friend, while you are just a stranger. I have done nothing. I am all but powerless. The mage made sure of that, didn't he? I cannot leave this chamber. No, Amalia found me. After decades of isolation, her company is welcome.
Ah.
It seems we are at an impasse, so let me propose a compromise of sorts. Release me, mortal, and let me have the girl. Let us return to her father and leave this place forever. That's such a crude way of putting it. I do not wish to harm Amalia. I merely want to see your world through her eyes. Is that so wrong? Thank you. You are very gracious. The mage's wards hold me within this chamber, and only a mortal may approach them. There is a trick to disarming the wards, but I do not know it. Perhaps you will succeed where the girl failed.
Oh, this is so exciting! Kitty is going to be free! I've always wanted a cat, and Kitty is so perfect and pretty. I like it when Kitty sings to me.
I shall do it. I shall do it. It shall be done. As you say.
Father doesn't like cats, but he never met Kitty.
It has begun. It shall be done. It has begun. Very well.
Kitty says Grandpa Wilhelm locked her up in this room. Isn't that awful?
It shall be done. As you say, it has begun.
Kitty is my best friend.
Very well. As you say, I shall do it. As you say. Very well.
I was thinking about the sun, silly.
Very well. It is begun. I shall do it. It is begun. It shall be done.
Tell me a story.
It is begun.
Yes. I can feel the magic fading. Oh, I had forgotten how it feels not to be caged.
Kitty? What's happening?
A wonderful thing, my dear, for both of us. Betrayal! You will not take the girl. She is mine!
Kitty! You're scaring me! I won't let you inside me! I won't!
I shall do it.
Must have
Have more dignity, no? Shale. Now you die!
Shall be done. Shall be
No
done.
mercy.
It is begun.
Shall we compete for
I
points?
shall do it. It is a fine thing we've done. Very well.
had victory.
Don't be afraid.
Nothing but excitement.
Time for a little bloodletting, I see.
For the fools, eh?
Invigorating that was.
You did it! You freed her! Thank you so much!
I'm sorry I ran away, Daddy. I was so scared.
It's all right, Butterfly. You're safe now. All the bad creatures are gone. The phrase to activate Shale is Doolan Han. If you still want that bloody thing. I wouldn't if I were you. Now we should go, and quickly. Thank you again. We owe you our lives.
I knew that the day would come when someone would find the control rod. And not even a mage this time. Probably stumbled across the rod by accident, I suppose. Typical. I stood here in this spot and watched the wretched little villagers scurry around me for, oh, I have no idea how long. Many, many years. I was just beginning to get used to the quiet, too. Tell me, are all the villagers dead? Some got away, then. How unfortunate. Perhaps I may have forgotten after all the years of being called Gollum. Gollum, fetch me that chair. Do be a good Gollum and squash that insipid bandit. And let's not forget, Gollum, pick me up. I tire of walking. It does have the control rod, doesn't it? I am awake, so it must. I see the control rod, yet I feel... Go on, order me to do something.
I don't appreciate foreign objects invading my personal space. Well, usually.
And, nothing. I feel nothing. I feel no compulsion to carry out its command. I suppose this means the rod is... broken? I suppose if I can't be commanded, this means I have free will, yes? It is simply, what should I do? I have no memories beyond watching this village for so long. I have no purpose. I find myself at a bit of a loss. What about it? It must have awoken me for some reason, no? What did it intend to do with me? May I ask what sorts of things it gets up to for which I could be so potentially useful? It refers to the Darkspawn, the very creatures that destroyed this village. The Darkspawn are an evil that must be destroyed, it's true, though not as evil as the birds. Damnable feathered fiends. I suppose I have two options, do I not? Go with it or go elsewhere? I do not even know what lies beyond this village. Yes, very likely. I watched this village for so long, unable to move or act. My memories of anything before are vague at best. So I have no idea what I want to do. I'm glad to be mobile. Is that not enough? Did I? I remember that I had a former master. The mage with the furry brows who poked and prodded and barked orders. Did I kill him? I hope I did kill him. Perhaps the last order he barked was, Gollum, stop crushing my head. Ah! Yes, I'm just funny that way. I have no idea. How does it trust anything else without a control rod? They haven't killed it yet. I consider this a good sign. I will follow it about then. For now, I am called Shale, by the way. This should be interesting.
Braska.
Indeed.
Vashaden.
Yes.
Horsefit. Indeed.
I see it found some augmentation crystals. I was not even aware it knew about them. Well done. So, what does it think? They don't make me look any wider, do they? I find I'm already too wide as it is. It must be the vertical pattern it put them in. Did it know to do that? It must have. I think it should find some more as soon as possible. I want to glitter from ear to ear, so to speak.
I have a thought. Ah, such wit. Truly, you and Mother should form a troupe of jesters and tour the countryside. We have an opportunity that I believe we should take advantage of. To the point. My mother was once divested of a particular grimoire by a most annoying Templar hunter. It occurred long before I was born, but even today, Flemeth speaks of the loss with great rage. With the circle of magi in such disarray, it occurs to me that this might be the perfect time to recover the tome from their possession, for surely it eventually ended up in their hands. Flemeth is a sorceress of legend, is she not? And her grimoire would be more than a mere curiosity to mages that daren't even glance towards the places my mother has walked for eons. No doubt 'tis considered something dangerous, perhaps best locked away somewhere dark, yes? And if not, then at least I know it does not exist. But there is no harm in looking, surely? 'Tis a book of spells, of the sort that Flemeth has dabbled with throughout her long life. 'Tis not the sort of thing that would benefit a mage of the standard variety. They were taught a different path. I, however, was taught by my mother. I know a way around the wards my mother would have placed on such a tome. I know the language that she would have written it in. I would find such a tome most useful. Useful in the way that it might increase my power. Useful in the way that I would become more useful to you. Does that not follow? Dangerous? All knowledge is potentially dangerous. If you have some fear of me such that I should not be allowed such knowledge, then by all means deprive me of it. I have no ulterior motive for seeking it, however. It did not occur to me when we were still in the Mage Tower. I wish it had. Truly, Mother has assumed for a long time that the tome was lost forever. I only remembered it now after thinking what treasures might be found in the Circle of Magi's Tower now in its condition. My eternal gratitude? At the very least, it shall enable me to help you more. Is that not worthwhile? Good. I am most interested to see its contents, should it be located. The grimoire is leather-bound and adorned with the symbol of a leafless tree, should you come across it. If not, however, then I shall simply put it out of my mind. I await your command. So, full of questions, are you? 'Tis the child abomination you speak of from... If what you seek is to remove the... There is only a maid, and...
Oh, that. Merely reflecting on the hopeless nature of the most likely outcome is that it and its companions will become a stain on some rock for the Darkspawn to tread upon. I shall be moved to a single tear by the tragedy. It's true. One single tear, and then it's off to the north, I think. Or maybe west. I haven't decided. What's that? Did it hear flapping wings? There may be pigeons nearby. We should be alert. Different? Different than what? Different than a statue? Different than a log? Should I talk in a monotone? Yes, Master, I exist to serve the Master. I shall kill for the Master and only for the Master. Perhaps it expected me to have a booming voice. Recite limericks. I can recite limericks, if it likes. I am not sensitive. I am made of stone. Sensitive is the exact opposite of what I am. I have never met another golem. I have no idea what one might be like, or why I wouldn't be like them. Why? Has it met other golems? Did they not sound as I do? I don't know what other golems might be like, but I am already superior by virtue of my free will. This is a good thing. Imagine the benefits. No need to eat or sleep or perform other functions. Walk underwater, crush the heads of every opponent. The possibilities are limitless. Barring the occasional 30 years or so of paralysis, there's little to compare. Now stop talking so much. The wagging of its moist little tongue is distracting. Yes, its adventures are interesting, even if the chances for success are remarkably slim. It would be better to throw oneself off a cliff, I suspect. Does it wish me to leave? I can, though I see no reason to go. No doubt. Without me, it would have to carry its inventory on its own. Perhaps we...
I'm here for you.
What? You found Flemeth's grimoire? When I spoke of it to you, I did not truly hope... This is a most fortuitous event. You have my thanks. I will begin study of the tome immediately. Return it? Indeed not. This tome represents the one time any of my mother's secrets were able to get away from her. I do not intend to squander this opportunity to learn more than Flemeth wished me to know. This should be... interesting.
Ooh, shiny.
Oh, how dear of you. Thank you so much. Oh, how dear of you. Thank you so much.
I have been studying Mother's grimoire. Do you wish to hear what I have... 'Tis not what I expected. I had hoped for a collection of her spells, a map of the power that she commands. But this is not it. No, not for nothing. There is much of interest here in her writings, and one thing in particular I find fascinating. Here, in great detail, Flemeth explains the means by which she has survived for centuries. Oh, if only 'twere so. Flemeth has raised many daughters over her long lifetime. There are stories of these many witches of the wilds throughout chastened legend, yet I have never seen a one, and always wondered why not. And now I know. They are all Flemeth. When her body becomes old and wizened, she raises a daughter, and when the time is right, she takes her daughter's body for her own. Indeed, that is primarily what this tome details, the various daughters that Flemeth has acquired, their preparation and training. I recognize all of it. I am to be her next host. This is my purpose. Whatever spark of the demon that made her what she is remains within her, keeps her from dying of old age, but her body deteriorates. Eventually, she would be so wizened as to be senseless and immobile. So, she must seek a new body, a fresh body, and start the cycle anew. I am uncertain. According to her writings, certain hosts are better than others. The more a host is prepared, the quicker the transition will be. I am sorry. This simply takes me by surprise. I would have thought I would have had some inkling, some notion. Flemeth is capable of many things. I was a fool not to suspect her capable of using me for her own self-preservation. I do not know. Perhaps 'tis as she said, the Darkspawn threaten her as much as they threaten anyone else. Or perhaps she believes that this journey will make me more powerful. According to the tome, if the host is already powerful and trained in magic, it takes far less time for Flemeth to settle in. Not by any natural means. Perhaps I should take this as a vote of confidence from her on my capabilities. Or perhaps she simply wished me gone from the Korkari wilds, so she could prepare her ritual in peace. A disturbing thought. There is only one possible response to this. Flemeth needs to die. I will not sit about like an empty sack waiting to be filled. Flemeth must be slain, and I need your help to do it. It may seem so. If you think of Flemeth as a mother, think of her instead as an ancient abomination that intends to use her own flesh and blood to extend her life beyond all natural limits. She did not wish anyone to get a hold of this information, least of all me. Now I have. If I do not act on what I know, then more the fool am I. Because if she is slain while I am near, I am not certain that she will not simply be able to take possession of me right there. So obviously I cannot be the one to do it. And what would that do? At best, I would receive pointless reassurances. At worst, Flemeth would imprison me once she became aware I know what I do. I know my mother well enough to be confident she would show no mercy when it came to her own survival. I must do the same. Then what needs to be done is for you to go back to Flemeth's hut in the Korkari wilds without me. Confront her and slay her quickly. I doubt she will truly be dead even then, but it will take her years to find a new host and recover her power, if that is even possible. The thing I must have is her true grimoire. With it, I can defend against her power in the future. Everything else in her hut is yours. Not really, but the sooner the better, no? She would like everyone to think she is invincible, but I highly doubt that is the case. And besides that, you are not truly killing her. I am grateful. The sooner this can be done, the sooner it will set my mind at ease.
If there's anything I can do for you, please, please. I'm sure you'll be pleased with the good... You and your friends are formidable folk, indeed. I'm...
Most kind.
How nice.
Interesting.
I'm to keep this, am I? Fine. I'm to keep this, am I? Fine.
Oh, thank you. That's very nice.
You and your friends are formidable...
The Circle of Magi stand. There are always areas to improve on, Grey Warden. The most useful for my talents are runes. Such a force has not been seen since the collapse of the Tevinter Imperium.
Oh, it's been a long day. Rest would be welcome. Yes, of course. I am just a little weary. As you may have noticed, I'm no spring chicken. Thank you. You're very kind to say so. But in all honesty, I do not know how many years I have left in me. I have lived for such a long time. But there is always something else to do. And I have to keep going in order to do it. I think I will be glad when I am done. Oh, I don't know. I really don't. Have you encountered many abominations, apart from the ones in the Circle Tower? Ah, yes, Connor, of course. The first time I saw an abomination, my blood turned to ice. It was months before the nightmares stopped. It was the knowledge that I could easily become one of them that frightened me the most. Every mage is vulnerable, no matter how accomplished or powerful. That is the first thing we learn, and overconfidence can lead to recklessness. One slip. All it takes is one slip, and everything you are is simply gone, replaced by madness. And there is no turning back, or at least that's what they say. Of late, I have begun to wonder if there is any way an abomination can be cured, or if a mage could be so possessed and still retain their sanity, their humanity. Yes, it is madness and cruelty that define abominations. If those are lacking, if the mage remembers the person they truly are, then they are not an abomination. I never saw that. Thank you for showing me another way of looking at it. So, tell me, how did you become a Grey Warden? You survived the deep roads and the darkspawn that dwell there? Truly, you were born to be a Grey Warden. No, not nothing. You are a Grey Warden, one of the last of the Ferelden Wardens. We depend on you now. Take heart, dear friend. You survived, even when you were not expected to. We do not know yet what lies in store for you, or the name you carry. It is not so bad, is it, being a Grey Warden? Sometimes it gives me comfort to think that everything will end up the way it's supposed to. That it will be all right. You were chosen. You survived the joining when others did not. Perhaps it was meant to be. I must ask, what does being a Grey Warden mean to you? There's that, of course. But there's more to being a Grey Warden than killing Darkspawn and saving the world from the Blight. Ultimately, being a Grey Warden is about serving others. About serving all people, whether elves or dwarves or men. As a Grey Warden, you are a guardian of men, and you guard them because their continued existence is more important than you are. Thus it is you who serves, not they. A good king, a true king who cares for his land, uses his power to rule firmly but fairly. He serves his people first and foremost. The king who does not do this, who believes that he is entitled to his power, who abuses it and uses it for his own means, is a tyrant. If you live apart from others, and your actions affect only you, then you may do as you wish. But if you have power, influence, and strength, your every action will be as a drop of water in a clear, still pond. The drop causes ripples, and ripples spread. Think of how far they will go, how wide they will become, how will they affect the pond. But I've lectured enough for today. I should stop before I wear out my welcome. You're quite taken with each other, aren't you? I've seen the way she looks at you, the familiarity with which you speak, how she always finds a way to place herself next to you. I've noticed your blossoming relationship, and I wanted to ask you where you thought it was going. Leliana is a remarkable girl, sincere and guileless, and she has opened her heart to you. I would not like to see her hurt. I am worried about you both. There is great potential for tragedy here. Love is ultimately selfish. It demands that one be devoted to a single person who may fully occupy one's mind and heart to the exclusion of all else. A Grey Warden cannot afford to be selfish. You may be forced to make a choice between saving your love and saving everyone else. And then what would you do? Nothing is certain. Not in these times. You cannot take anything for granted. I want you to be aware of this. I am just trying to minimize the suffering that may come to either of you. I have given my advice. Do with it what you will. What's on your mind? Oh, yes, and thank you for asking. I'm feeling much better today. Well, thank you for your kindness, my dear. It certainly warms these rickety old bones. What's on your mind? Is something troubling you? You are one of the 2 surviving Grey Wardens in Ferelden. You defend all of us, and much rests on your shoulders. It may not mean much to you, but thank you for having the courage to continue to fight. And that gives me hope. Have you heard much about the Grey Wardens of old? It was said that watching the Wardens ride in on their white griffins was enough to rouse a weary heart and put the dance back in the step of an old man. The Grey Wardens were powerful, feared and respected, but they also inspired the common people. I remember a tale that was told to me many years ago. The Blight had ravaged the land for months, and the armies of the great kings had amassed for one last stand. As the sun burst through the clouds that boiled and churned in the dark sky above, it illuminated a vast, seething horde of darkspawn, with the archdemon at its head. And it was then, when courage seemed to fail, and all lost to death and despair, that the Grey Wardens came. They arrived with the beating of wings like mighty war drums, and stood before the armies of men. The Grey Wardens, grim and fearless, marched forth, ever between the men and the encroaching darkspawn. They formed a shield of their own bodies and held that line until the archdemon was dead, and the last darkspawn lay trampled in the dirt. And then, demanding neither reward nor recognition for their sacrifice, the Grey Wardens departed. When the clouds finally rolled back, and the sun shone full upon the blighted ground, the great kings knew that they had lost no men, and none of their blood had been spilled. This is a tale about no battle the Grey Wardens have fought, and yet about them all. They have always defended us from the Darkspawn, taking losses so we do not have to. People may have forgotten over the centuries, but nothing has changed. This knowledge has been blessing and burden to Grey Wardens past, And now, it shall be your blessing, and your burden. What's on your mind? No, you won't. I don't think so either. You would not have been happy living a dull, uneventful life, dying in obscurity. You wonder sometimes, don't you? If your life would be better if you weren't who you are. When I was a young woman in the tower, I came to the realization that the circle would be my life, and I would know no other. Family, love, a simple life. These were things that others took for granted, that I would never have. It made me very moody. All I could think of was being trapped in that tower with no way out and no end in sight. I started hating my life and myself, and one night I found myself in the tower's chapel. I was seeking refuge, maybe answers. I must have looked tearful or made some noise, because the revered mother came out and decided to speak to me. And because I had no one else to talk to, I talked to her. I must have said many silly things, but she told me that the Maker puts us all on our paths for a reason, and fighting our intended course is what causes so much anguish. I thought the old biddy was full of rubbish. I was 15, maybe 16, and I knew everything. So I left, but I always found my way back to that chapel. And as the years passed, I began to see the truth of her words. We were supposed to be polar opposites, mage and priest. But we weren't. There was much about us that was the same. The revered mother had lived in the chantry all her life, as I had been in the tower for all of mine. She taught me that you can find your family in the people around you, that you can love your work and find fulfillment in duty, and there is joy even in self-sacrifice. If you put others before yourself, then their well-being is yours, and their happiness is your happiness. It isn't healthy to throw yourself at a pack of darkspawn either in order to save the world, so I'd say you're in no position to judge. You can scream and cry and be angry about life as a Grey Warden, or you can accept it and allow yourself to see the good in it. This is your choice. What's on your mind? It is no trouble.
I'm here for you.
I've a question, if I may. Well, here's the thing. I swore an oath to serve you, yes? And I understand the quest you're on, and this is all very fine and well. My question pertains to what you intend to do with me once this business is over with, as a point of curiosity. Not precisely. I said I would serve you until you saw fit to release me. One simply assumes that once your Grey Warden business is finished, you would have no need of an assassin to follow you about. Am I wrong? Indeed. I might even be glad to call myself such, come to think of it. It is good to know what my options might be, but that is for another time. For now, we have much to do, yes? What say you? By all means. Oh, you wish to know about Antiva, do you? The only way to truly appreciate it would be to go there. It is a warm place, not cold and harsh like this Ferelden. In Antiva it rains often, but the flowers are always in bloom, or so the saying goes. Every land has its assassins. Some are simply more open about their business than others. I hail from the glorious Antiva city, home to the royal palace. It is a glittering gem amidst the sand, my Antiva city. Do you come from someplace comparable? Ah, yes, the city of lava and stone. It too is beautiful, in its way. Sad that it will never see sunlight or smell the salt of the ocean, however. You know what is most odd? We speak of my homeland, and for all its wine and its dark-haired beauties and the lilo flutes of the minstrels, I miss the leather the most. I mean the smell. For years, I lived in a tiny apartment near Antiva City's leather-making district, in a building where the crows stored their youngest recruits, packed in like crates. I grew accustomed to the stench, even though the humans complained of it constantly. To this day, the smell of fresh leather is what reminds me most of home, more than anything else. Oh, not so long, I know. It is my first time away from Antiva, however, and the thought of never returning makes me think of it constantly. Before I left, I was tempted to spend what little coin I possessed on leather boots I spotted in a store window. Finest Antivan leather. Perfect craftsmanship. Ah, but I was a fool to leave them. I thought, Zevran, you can buy them when you return as a reward for a job well done. More the fool I, no? True, and it's a comforting thought. One simply never knows what is to come next. How could I have suspected I would end up defeated by a handsome Grey Warden? A man who then spares my life? I could not. Perhaps that was a poor choice of words. True, though it is. Do you object? As you wish. I apologize. Now, if it is all the same to you, I would prefer not to speak more of Antiva. It makes me wistful and hungry for a proper meal.
Damn! Alright, we need cake.
Something you need? I'm sure you'll be...
Oh, great, I'm poor. Well. That'll be enough.
How nice. How nice. How nice. How nice.
There we go. Alrighty. Anyways, let me show you that. There it is. That is the gash across of it. Right there. Anyways, apparently this is Pressrop, and that's Clendagon. The moon we saw in Mass Effect 1 a while back.
What say you? By all means. Well, the Crows would have you believe that it is an involved process that takes years of training, the sort that tests both your resolve and your endurance. Survive that process and maybe, just maybe, you're good enough to start being considered one of them. But quite frankly, the truth is that all it requires is a desire to kill people for a living. It's surprising how well one can do in such a field. I don't know about that. It's simply a slightly different skill set from your average killer, as I see it. An assassin simply specializes in striking from stealth, and in maximizing that first attack to be as lethal as possible. Debilitate your foe, either by poison or by crippling their limbs, makes any follow-up combat you need to engage in that much simpler. See? Getting paid for the act is beside the point. An assassin is more a tactical choice than a lifestyle. Of course, the crows like to pretend that their abilities are trade secrets, shrouded in shadows and wrapped in a blanket of mystery. So let's just keep this between you and me, shall we? Hmm? What say you? I could teach others, but not yourself. First, I would need someone who has training as a rogue. That is, unless you would care to spend the years it takes to gain the fundamentals. But if there should be such a person who desires this training, yes, by all means, send them to me. The crows are already furious, no? I shall enjoy tweaking their nose further. What say you? By all means. Well now, I imagine that's a very fair question. Being an assassin, after all, is a living, at least as far as such things go. I was simply never given the opportunity to choose another way. So, if that choice presents itself, why should I not seize upon it? I don't know that I would put it precisely that way. I was but a boy of 7 when I was purchased. For 3 sovereigns, I'm told. Which is a good price, considering I was all ribs and bone and didn't know the pommel of a dagger from the pointy end. The crows buy all their assassins that way. Buy them young, raise them to know nothing else but murder. And if you do poorly in your training, you die. Of course. You compete against your fellow assassins, and those who survive are rightfully proud of it. In Antiva, being a crow gets you respect. It gets you wealth. Gets you women. And men. Or whatever it is you might fancy. But that does not mean doing what is expected of you always. And it means being expendable. It's a cage, if a gilded cage. Pretty, but confining. I certainly hope so. I have earned the crows a great deal of money, and none of it has come easily. As for what I'll do in the future, presuming that there is one, I truly can't imagine. It might be interesting to go into business for myself, for a change. Far away from Antiva, of course. For now, naturally, I go where you go. Eventually can be a very, very long time, if one plays one's cards right. Come now, enough chit-chat. Talking about the crows summons them, you know. Any Antivan fishwife could tell you so.
Fuck this guy. He's just... ugh. Always angry.
How nice.
There we go. Anyways, next guy.
Something on your mind?
You called. As you wish.
I've watched a lot of humans in my time. It should be aware that I've decided that it is not much like any of them. Surely it must come from some superior lineage, yes? Some breed of flesh creature that has decided to elevate its genetic stock above its natural shortcomings? Then that must be it. My experience with dwarves is limited, but obviously I need to encounter more of them. I would appreciate if it didn't spread around that I said anything. Humans might start to get the wrong idea. They might start thinking their race is not completely hopeless. Indeed, can it imagine the horror? Oh. Now, let us crush something into a fine paste before it starts to think I've gone all soft. Perish the thought. It speaks. It doesn't have better things to do. I like to think of them as accessories. I suspect that it is an art that was practiced when golems were more, commonplace. My former master collected whatever lore he could find on the subject. He searched far and wide to collect what crystals he could and then added them. It is not an unpleasant sensation. so, I would assume. My former master enjoyed poking around the ruins in the deep roads after all, and bartering with others who did. As I understand it, the crystals allow me to alter the flow of magic around me. Wilhelm had hoped to turn me into a battery of mana, something he could tap at will. Not really, although now that I think of it, these attempts may be what caused my disruption. Some of the crystals increase the presence of mana, some absorb or reflect spells. There are various kinds. All I can promise is that should it ever find one of these crystals, I can likely tell it the function and what it would do if added to me. Why not? I don't get to wear clothing and other adornments like the rest of you creatures after all. That answers its question, I assume? Unless it has more. Did I not already tell it that I do not remember doing such? I remember having a master. My memories of what happened to him are vague. Clever and true. Oh, very well. Let me see what I can recall. My former master enjoyed experimenting upon me. I remember that much. There was tinkering with spells, and then the crystals. He was very eager to alter my function, I think. Bah! I am no mage, and he did not explain himself to me, any more than it would explain itself to a sword. He possessed my control rod, and back then, it would have prevented me from doing anything he did not command me to, no matter how I might have wished to. So what happened? I am unsure. He was experimenting, and then nothing. Oh, ho, ho. It does like to laugh, does it? But who knows? I may have such a thing. And then he was gone. I was standing where I was, in the village, and I could no longer move. The villagers came, poked and prodded me in fear, and then realized they could neither move me nor destroy me, so they simply left me. And in time I forgot I hadn't stood there all along. In fact, at first I found it more of a relief. For so many years I'd had to leap to that little toadstool's every command. Get this, pick up that, put it down, pick it up again. The gall! At first, I'd hoped he'd simply decided to leave me there paralyzed, an acceptable trade-off. After years passed, I simply stopped caring. Possibly. Except that he was not experimenting with the crystals at the time, I think. But my memory is not good. It may be correct. Whatever the mage did seemed to render the control rod useless, for which I should be thankful, yes? And provided it doesn't decide to copy his experiments, not that I would allow it, it has nothing to fear from me. Much. The things that it fights, and it fights things often, that is a different story. Let us get back to the walking and the fighting. My stone is beginning to itch again. It speaks. It doesn't have better things to do. Oh yes, that I remember quite well. My former master, the mage Wilhelm, he brought me. As I recall, he had acquired some position with whatever lord ruled the land. I, being little more than a glorified possession at the time, was brought along. Oh, how he enjoyed impressing the villagers with me. Gollum snarl at that villager there, be fearsome. And of course, I would have to do it. I'd have happily stomped them all into paste, and then ripped down their little houses and stomped on them, too. In fact, after 30 years of watching them, I'd do it twice. What I didn't like was being ordered to do it. Dangled in front of those frightened morons like some scary thing. Once I was a statue, it took those villagers years before they'd even approach me. The first one to actually work up the nerve to touch me urinated himself. Ugh. That is where Wilhelm kept me. He wanted me out in the open where I could be frightening like a scarecrow. I was supposed to watch for thieves. Pah! Plus, his wife didn't want me indoors. She said there wasn't room for me. Hag. Humph! I was once larger, 10 feet tall. Then the loathsome hag complained that I couldn't fit through the doors. So the mage had me shrunk down. Can it believe it? And she still wanted me out. With a chisel and a lot of nerve. He did love using that control rod. Fondled it so much his wife actually threatened to throw it in the lake. Ha! I would have liked to have seen that. Which reminds me, where did it find the rod? Did it pay a great deal for it? Hag. I traveled with the mage. He did a lot of traveling, I remember that. But where we went, it is rather fuzzy. I remember great battles, fighting many humans long ago. They were all very soft and squishy. And before that, No, there are only images. I was somewhere dark. I have no idea. Wilhelm used to brag that the dwarves stopped making golems centuries ago. I do not age as you soft creatures do. Sadly, my memory is no better. Plus, I get bored and stop paying attention. Good. I was just about done talking about it. It does like to have a good chat now and again, doesn't it?
Alrighty. Sorry about that. Just wanted to spend some time talking to these guys since we haven't done it for a while. Let's continue. Time to go kill ourselves a witch. Save it here just in case. Now, this might go extremely poor, but we are level 10, so we should be able to handle it. Alright.
Yes.
Yes. Indeed.
Shall be done. As you say, I shall do it. It shall be done.
You should run while you can.
Get off! I shall do it.
Always comes to Yes. It is too much. Immediately, my mission will make
Don't be a fool.
We must strike.
Yes.
Yes.
Pigeon crap.
Yes.
Yes.
Indeed.
Yes.
Yes.
Indeed.
Dark.
An order. Run while you can. Let us end this.
Send me! I am armed! I shall do it. Shall be done. Quickly, we must fight!
Head last.
We've begun.
Smaller digits first. Death
As you say. I shall do it.
time.
It shall be done.
Run in fear.
Shall be done.
As you wish.
Begin the onslaught.
Shall be done. May the paragons watch over me. As you say.
I fell. For a moment there, I thought I thought it was all over. I will explain everything when we are back at camp. Now is not the time.
I shall do it.
I think I owe you an explanation for what happened earlier. You should know that something happened to me at the tower before you came along. Remember my apprentice, Petra? She encountered a demon in the tower. It would have killed her had I not intervened. I saved her life that day, but I did not survive that encounter with the demon. Let me explain fully. I engaged a very powerful demon to rescue Petra. It sapped me of all my energy and will and left me drained. It took everything I had to defeat it. And when I was done, I no longer had the strength to keep my heart beating. I remember my life ebbing away. Everything receded from me. Sound, light. I remember being enveloped in complete, impenetrable darkness. And then I sensed a presence enfolding me and cradling me, whispering quietly to me. The sensation is impossible to describe. I was being held back, firmly but gently, as a mother would a child, eager to slip from her grasp. I felt life and warmth flowing through my veins again. I began to be aware of small sounds and the discomfort of my hip pressing into the cold stone of the tower floor. The Fade contains spirits both benevolent and malicious. The benevolent spirits seldom make themselves known, because they want nothing from mortals, unlike the demons. It was one of these spirits that saved me. Without it, I would be dead. And it has not left me. It is with me, even now, bonded to me. You see, I am supposed to be dead. It is the spirit that is keeping me in this world. And this is not the way of things. Perhaps the spirit did not expect this, but it is weakening gradually. I am living on borrowed time. Yes, that we will. What's on your mind? I have always had an affinity for the spirits of the Fade. As a child, I never feared my dreams because I knew they were there. I could sense the demons, too, and their presence frightened me. It was the kindly spirits of the Fade that took the fear from me. I've always been able to feel the spirits, even if I never saw them. And as I nurtured my talent in the circle, I became more sensitive. I began to notice every time I was in the Fade, whether it was in a dream or in magical practice, that I was being watched. I suppose they must. It is these benevolent spirits that create our dream worlds in the Fade. Sometimes I would see it, a glowing, nebulous form. Most times I would just feel its presence, gentle and comforting, but somehow alien. I think it is a spirit of faith. They have never been seen before, and perhaps I am wrong. But something tells me I'm not. It always felt like the same entity. This one spirit was curious about me, and was guarding me, for want of a better word. There were times when I was in the Fade that it seemed to stretch forth to shield me, keeping me safe. And I think it gave me strength in my most terrible battles, Ostagar being one of them. I don't know why I was chosen. Perhaps it knew that there was something more that lay in store for me. I like to think that I was given a rare chance, and I'm going to make the best of the time so generously given to me. I will not lie motionless in a bed with coverlets up to my chin, waiting for death to claim me. That is not the death for me. And so I will fight alongside the Grey Warden, and help prepare him for the task that is yet before him. So you had better listen to me, because I swear, if I should fall before the end and you don't seem to be doing things properly, I'll get up again to give you a good finger-wagging. You know, I think you'll be all right, even without my help. What's on your mind? Cure me? What, am I sick now? Even you know that you cannot cure the dead. And I'm not the only one dying. You are too. I'm just more efficient about it. Ah, child, your concern is heartwarming. But death comes to everyone, and it is not something to fear. People fear not death, but having life taken from them. Many waste the life given to them, occupying themselves with things that do not matter. When the end comes, they say they did not have time enough to spend with loved ones, to fulfill dreams, to go on adventures they only talked about. But why should you fear death if you are happy with the life you have led? If you can look back on everything and say, yes, I am content. It is enough. I think I've led a good life, a full life, and I, for one, am not afraid of death, whatever it may bring. They say that when you die, your spirit travels through the fade and returns to the Maker. And after that, we'll see, won't we? What's on your mind? I try not to dwell too much on the mistakes of my past, of which there are many. I would go quite mad if I did that. But I do have one regret. The greatest misstep of my life, made even more grave because it had dire consequences for someone else. Years ago, I was assigned as mentor to a lad, Anarin. He was my first apprentice. Anarin was an elf, raised in one of the elven alienages, and he was very mistrustful of humans, especially humans in authority. What Anarin needed was time. Time to get used to his new home, time to emerge from his shell, so we could build a rapport. I gave him no such time. I was young and arrogant. He is a mage, I thought. He needs to grow up and act like one. I expected too much from him too quickly. I gave no consideration to his origin or his feelings, and he retreated further from me. All I could think of was how stubborn he was, how he was throwing away all his talent and his potential just to be difficult. Oh, I dread to think. I was a harsh taskmistress. He might have thought I was a demon in disguise. You cannot plant crops in the cold, wintry ground. You cannot teach a student who is closed off and unresponsive. Patience is what is needed, and I learned that too late to help him. Anarin ran away from the circle one night. I had berated him over some trivial, ridiculous matter that I no longer remember. I drove him away because of something utterly unimportant. He was a child, 14 at the time of his leaving. They had his phylactery, and they hunted him down. The phylactery is a vial of blood taken from a mage. But blood is connected to life, and your blood can be used to track you down. They called him Maleficar, a mage who practices forbidden magic, deserving of death. He was a child, misunderstood and lost. I begged the Templars to tell me if he suffered, if they gave him a quick death. I got no answers from them. I was his mentor, and they wouldn't even tell me what became of him. I should have known better. I had the best mentors. They were kind, compassionate. Why didn't I learn from them? I failed Anarin. All I had to do was listen to him. He would try to talk to me, and I would tell him to concentrate on his spells. He talked about the alienage sometimes, and the Dalish. He always talked about looking for the Dalish elves. The Templars are well-trained and thorough. That he still lives, it would be a vain hope. The apprentices that came after Anarin benefited greatly from the lessons I learned from him. In a sense, he was my teacher, and I his student. And there it is. My story, my one greatest regret. What's on your mind? It is... Your dog is filthy. I can smell him 50 yards off. That may be so, but all the same, I would like your permission to bathe him. I suppose that's true. Just make him sleep over on the other side of the camp, with Alistair. With any luck, that will keep all the stench confined to one small area. Yes.
Yes.
Indeed.
Pigeon crap. Yes.
Oh god, I swear, we get ambushed every time we go out of camp.
Dark spot! Shall be done. I shall do it.
That was interesting. And draining. I called forth the spirit that sustains me, so that it could lend us aid. I did not realize it would take this much out of me. It seemed a good idea at the time, if a little rash. I think it may have weakened the spirit a little. Well, that's certainly conceivable. I suppose I shouldn't be using that particular trick to entertain children at parties. I promise I'll be careful. And thank you. Your concern is touching.
Very well.
And so you return. Lovely Morrigan has at last found someone willing to dance to her tune. Such enchanting music she plays, wouldn't you say? Which one, I wonder? What has Morrigan told you? What little plan has she hatched this time? That she does. The question is, do you? Ah, but it is an old, old story. One that Flemeth has heard before, and even told. Let us skip right to the ending, shall we? Do you slay the old wretch as Morrigan bids, or does the tale take a different turn? The truth, as if it were nothing. How like a man. No, no. Far better the lie. Far better the comfort of blankets and shadows and a mother's love. Morrigan wishes my grimoire? Take it as a trophy. Tell her I am slain. Shame. What will it be, then? It is a dance poor Flemeth knows well. Let us see if she remembers the steps. Come. She will earn what she takes. I'd have it no other way.
Make it!
How does that
battle. Here! As you say. Quickly, we must fight! Don't be a fool! We must fight. Let us do it quickly. We must fight. Let us do it quickly.
Let us end. Me!
I will crush you last. I can start on the smaller digits first.
Come, let us end this! Away with you!
Lovely Morrigan has... Oh, you think you're the first to come, full of right... It is...
Send me! Send this! I am ready.
Let's make this quick. Defend yourself.
Careful! We fight for honor!
Defend yourself.
I shall do so.
It has begun. We shall hold rest.
Lovely Morrigan. You think you're the first...
Shall be done. I shall do it.
This is frustrating the hell out of me. Alright, well, we're gonna leave real quick. Go to camp.
The Blight. How will you end it? Is that all? It is surrounded by an ocean of darkspawn. How will you reach it? If you reach it, how will you slay it? You say you are a Grey Warden. I have heard stories of this order. Great strategists and peerless warriors. That is what we hear of the Wardens. So far, I am not impressed. Will you make that excuse to the Archdemon, or the victims it claims in the meantime?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Lovely, Morrigan. You think you're the first to come?
It shall be done. It shall be as you say. Go! Yes! Yes!
Did I say how frustrating this was?
The Blight. How will you end it? You say you are a Grey Warden. I have heard stories of this order. Great strategists and peerless warriors. That is what we hear. Evidently not. It remains only to see.
Alright, well, we're going to ignore that. We can do that later because apparently we're not high enough, high enough level to do that yet. So let's.
Yes. Horse feathers.
Yeah, you're a good
Yes.
healer. I brought
Yes.
recently, and fuck it, we're not even going anywhere important. Yeah, we're not going. Yeah, we're not doing anything important. Go to the village because we need to go there anyways. Really? No ambushes? That's the honest.
I hear Bantegan has some plan to find Andraste's ashes.
And after much sweat, blood, and...
May as well pray for the Maker to come and heal the Jarl himself.
Maker's blessings upon you, Warden.
My Valena returned. She told me of your daring rescue. I can't begin to tell you how grateful I am. Take this. A reward for your deed. It's dwarven made and should serve you well. Thank you again. I'm forever in your debt. You're welcome here, friend. You're...
Heavy plate armor. Nice. That's actually nice. I'm gonna put that helmet on instead. Oh, actually. Oh, really? That's a sneaky little bugger. I just have to put that helm on. That's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. I can just be a sneaky little bugger like that. Oh, amazing. That's cool. Okay, that's a little cheeky little thing there. Well, now I got this armor on. This should be much better than what I originally have. 18. I originally had 12. Yeah, that's definitely better. Okay, we're keeping this helmet.
You're welcome here, friend. You're
Definitely keeping that helmet because it's fucking cheeky. Physical resistance and electrical resistance, cold resistance. These are all nice. I think I'm gonna keep these. I want to keep this one. Yeah, I want to keep this one, the physical resistance. At least so he doesn't have to take melee damage as bad. There we go. That should give me
You're
a bit
welcome here,
more
friend.
armor.
You're
So he's actually useful now. Yeah, definitely a bit more useful now. I don't think there's anything else I need. I guess we're done here.
Thank you, kind sir.
Okay, so that helmet's definitely something that you need to get on, like get right off the bat, because that just gives you so much. Yeah, this does plus 40 health, plus 6 defense as well. So that's amazing. My health is at 390 right now? No, 330? Still amazing. Really good. Alright. We've been leaving this off for a while. I guess we can head up there. Even though what we do need to go do is get Sten's sword, which I actually know where that is since I played this game before, but not gonna say. Okay, I'm just gonna go to the map. Fast travel from here to there. Alrighty. It's been a while since we've been here. About a few days, maybe? That's an endgame days, not out game. It's been a while since we've been here. This is massive armor, right?
Ah, there you are. We have brought lyrium and begun preparations for the ritual. We can start any time. Yes, we haven't sufficient lyrium at present to send more than one mage into the Fade. It only works because the child gave himself to the demon willingly. If the demon takes over the host forcibly, we must slay the abomination. We have only enough lyrium for one attempt. I hope you succeed. Such a young lad deserves better than execution. It truly depends on the manner of demon. It sounds like a spirit of greed and desire, one of the more powerful in the hierarchy. It will likely engage you in dialogue and tempt you with an offer. Avoid it. Making deals with demons never turns out well.
I'm glad we decided to take this route. This is really the best option.
Very well. Who will go into the Fade? Me? Confront the demon? This is a lot to ask. I suppose I do, at that. So be it. I shall confront this demon myself. Let us begin at once.
Thinking about actually stealing his staff. I don't know if it's any important staff, but if it's important staff, I'm gonna steal it. Because it's gonna be, has to be pretty good if he's first enchanter. Nope, he just has, that's useful. I might take his ropes then. Yeah, I'll let him keep his acolyte. Yeah, fuck it, I'll take his staff, who cares?
Is that you, Connor? I can hear you! I'm coming!
Father! Where are you?
Is anyone out there? You there? Have you seen my son? I can hear him, but I cannot find him. This blasted fog has me turning in circles.
You are in the Fade, good man. A demon has you trapped here.
But is my son in danger?
He is, but I will do my best to see that all of us emerge from this unscathed. Trust me, my Arl. I should trust you. I should...
But I can never find him in this fog. You must find Connor. Please, I beg you. Blessed art thou who exists.
Damn, he actually has quite a few abilities on him. Damn, that's quite a lot.
Who are you? Are you the one that made Father ill? Tell me now!
Tell me where the demon is, child. I will end this.
Fool! You won't get near her. I won't let you.
I actually have not played as a mage in a while, so bear with me, guys. It might be crap, to be honest. Probably wouldn't be spamming a lot of these abilities. Do you need to start a build? No, you don't. Sweet. Okay, I'm gonna...
You're the one making Father sick!
Definitely gonna steal this.
I'll help him! You can't stop me! Why do you keep hurting me? Why are you trying to stop me? Trespasser! I will drive you out!
I will not die today.
Come to me, pretty thing!
Well, he died. As expected. As I said, I'm shit at being a mage. I hate this part of the story.
Is that you, Connor? I can hear you! I'm coming!
Father! Where are you?
Is anyone out there? You there? Have you...
You... He... I...
But... Blessed art thou.
Alright, so I'm going to have to... God, it's been a while since I've been a mage.
Who are you? Are you the one... Fool?
Why are you running? Embrace me!
You! You're the one making Father sick! Why do you keep hurting me? I'll help him! You can't stop me!
Oh, shut it, kid. This should be the last attack, maybe?
Father wanders, seeking me. Trapped within... No. It is time for you...
I forget how powerful mages are sometimes whenever they're put in good hands. Oh, this should be the last time. Oh no, I remember this one.
Very well. It is perhaps we should.
No.
Very well.
Irving, do not die here, Irving. Please don't. I may have just killed myself. I fucking paralyzed myself, didn't I? I did. Really? I did. I did. I can't believe I paralyzed myself.
You will never leave this place.
I need to heal somebody out. Where's my glyph of full shoulder? Apparently Tempest is like super good.
Oh.
Perfect. You gonna let me come out now, Gabe? There we go. Let's see. So it was a dream realm, so it shouldn't have that. But if it does, it'll be quite. I will fucking laugh my ass off. Just a fucking naked Irving in the back. I don't know if he appears in this.
So it is over. Connor is his old self. He does not seem to remember anything, which is a blessing. I suppose we will need to send him to the Circle of Magi's tower for training, once the war is over. It's so odd to think of the boy as a mage, of all things. Eamon has much to mourn and rebuild should he recover. But at least he can be thankful that both his son and wife are safe.
I owe you my deepest thanks. I can scarcely believe Connor is the boy he once was.
There is still the matter of Jowan. His poisoning Eamon began this whole mess, yet he lives. I must decide what becomes of him. We will hold him for Eamon to decide his fate. If he doesn't recover, Jowan's fate is sealed. What do you think? You spoke with him, have you not? You know what he has done better than I do, even. I would not trust him, but I would not presume to tell my brother what to do. What do you mean? He is responsible for many of the problems here, and is a Maleficar as well. Perhaps you are correct. But that is Eamon's decision, not mine. I'm sorry. Jowan stays in the dungeon for now. But our task is not done yet. Whatever the demon did to my brother, it seems to have spared his life, but he remains comatose. We cannot wake him.
The urn. The urn of sacred ashes will save Eamon. Thank you. I am grateful for your eagerness to help restore my husband. Find Brother Genitivi, the scholar, in Denerham. He has been researching the urn's location for several years now. The knights that returned say they were unable to find Genitivi. But perhaps the Maker will lead you to him.
I must go to the hall and begin rebuilding. I wish you luck, and may the Maker go with you.
You're the one who saved me. I remember having a bad dream. There was a very scary lady, but she went away. I hope Father gets better soon. He will, won't he?
Let's see. I didn't. God dang, that's sad. At least now we don't have a naked first enchanter running, or first enchanter? Yeah, it was first enchanter. At least we don't have that running around. That would be a mess. Yes, indeed it would.
Very well. Very well. It shall be done.
This is my mother's amulet. It has to be. But why isn't it broken? Where did you find it? Oh, the Arl study? Then he must have found the amulet after I threw it at the wall. And he repaired it and kept it. I don't understand. Why would he do that? I guess you could be right. We never really talked that much. And then the way I left... Thank you. I mean it. I thought I'd lost this to my own stupidity. I'll need to talk to him about this if he recovers from his... When he recovers, that is. I wish I'd had this a long time ago. Did you remember me mentioning it? Wow. Huh. I'm more used to people not really listening when I go on about things. I don't know what to say. I'm honored. Thanks again.
As you say.
Who the fuck keeps an axe in their vanity? Yeah, fuck, don't even care. Nope. Just no. They want to keep an axe in their vanity, they can go ahead and do that.
You return. Might you have news? Unchanged, I'm afraid. We've tried more magical healing, but nothing works. As time passes, I become more and more convinced the urn might be our only hope. Yes, but they are returning slowly. No doubt the war's progress, as well as the Darkspawns, hinders many of them. Then I must resume my duties. The civil war continues, and Loghain is no doubt angered Redcliffe has not been disabled. Good luck, my friend. I hope this continues to go well for all our sakes.
Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I have realized I've been going on for quite some time, so you folks have a wonderful night. As always, I'm Admiral Vigilance, and I'll see you next time in Dragon Age Origins. Have a wonderful night.